www.hoodmystic.com. Leave your ego at the door. www.hoodmystic.com. Leave your ego at the door.
Peace to the family. This is the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. And today we are dealing with the new moon in Scorpio, which takes place, when does this take place? November 26, 2019. So I have a lot of interesting information, a lot of different things that I kind of want to talk about. And so we're just going to really deal with it, man. Doing it in this format because this is the format that I'm more comfortable with delivering this type of information. I have a variety of different styles of videos. It's just all dependent on how I want the information to come out. Now, I am live, so kids might come downstairs, might have company. You just never know. But I like the idea of being live and just letting the real come out. Might not be as smooth, it might not be as put together, but still I find these lives to be a lot more powerful than produced videos. So that being said, we've been building on a lot of different information. I've been doing a lot of meditation, really getting in tune with myself and figuring out my life path, like really figuring out who I am, and hopefully you're in that same space and we can kind of talk about these things. The sun and the moon together every 28 days represents a cosmic marriage. And some people call this information a new moon. And so we're just going to look at this new moon from a side real perspective, just so we can see what's going on, and then kind of explain, the stars and things like that, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people are into astrology, but they don't really know what it is. And see, right now I'm panning out on the sky, and if you want to pay close attention to this ecliptic line, because this line, it goes and it travels. Give me 1 second. It travels all throughout the night sky. Goes all the way there. And it goes, don't get seasick. And it goes all the way down. Now that line is the Milky Way. And that is billions upon trillions upon quintillion. I mean, like, all of these are planets, constellations, like all different types of things. This is like a whole energy field. And to be quite honest, you know what this energy is? These are all of the incarnated souls, past, present, future. They're deciding whether they want to enter this realm or not. But if you understand reincarnation and you understand who you are a spirit. So at one particular point in time, even now, your spirit exists along this particular belt. And so that's why this particular area is such a powerful area. And we have a new moon that is exact right on the threshold, right on the cusp of this particular Milky Way, okay? And so as the energy travels, the planets, they don't travel up and down the Milky Way, they travel across it. So if we pan out, we'll see the sun, the moon, we'll see Jupiter, Venus, we'll see Saturn, Pluto. And if I keep going east to west, I'll find, other planets. Here we have Capricorn, and then we have Neptune. So this is the astrologics in real time, ladies and gentlemen. But I just want to let you know that the outer space is a three-dimensional place. It goes up, down, left to right. And us as human beings, we simply monitor the east and west ecliptic. But whenever the sun, the moon, Jupiter, Venus, Pluto, Saturn, they enter this particular area, things begin to get a little strange. Even more so as we talk and we discuss this upcoming week, which is known around the Americas as Thanksgiving week, we get to understand why this particular point in time is so important in understanding our spirituality, okay? And then understanding why our spirituality has been lost from us. So here we go. We're just moving through these pages and we're going to just talk about some things so we can get a full view on a lot of common tropes that people throw out there. Things like alchemy. And alchemy, if we don't understand what alchemy is, then we're just simply saying it, you know, gotta do alchemy. Well, how do you do alchemy? Well, I don't know. You can particularly do alchemy every 28 days, especially when the sun and the moon are conjunct in the sky. This is how we tell time. This is how we grow. This is how we know. And this is how alchemy is actually put on display every 28 days in the cosmos. So maybe you, if you stuck in society, you're trying to perpetuate this initial view that you've had since you were a child, whether it be man, woman, whatever the case may be, and you're trying to live up to this standard that if not carefully examined all of your archetypes, especially this one, then you will be dealing with that which is called a shadow, or that which is called darkness or depression. But let's really get into what these things actually mean, because a lot of people fear depression. A lot of people dislike depression when they're going through this depression because they feel as though that is a bad thing. But when you reference darkness, when you reference the night, that is a particular time for healing. How many times have you went to sleep hurt and woke up healed? Okay, how many times have you went to sleep with a problem and woke up with a solution? That's because there's a particular energy. A lot of people want to go out and have parties in the nighttime because that is a healing modality. And you might feel like it's negative because of what happens, but understand there's a lot of governmental control, a lot of agents of chaos that are entered in particular environments to dissuade you not to go out and have a good time, because you're afraid of what might happen. But intuitively, deep down inside, your ass want to go out and hit the damn dance floor. Let's just be real about the shit, okay? Let's just be real about it. So here we are. And I said that I was going to zoom these things in so you guys could get a better view. Hopefully that's a slightly better than previous videos. So we're going to go and deal with a couple of things. Sol and Luna, just meaning the sun and the moon, are two major personifications of the partners of the sun and moon, which in alchemy are specifically associated with the opposition of sexes. So of course you want to go out and have a good time, every day. I know a lot of families after Thanksgiving, they, like the younger generation, they put on their best gear and they go out to the club and they enjoy themselves. Because there's just something about that, especially when you're young and naive and think the world is like your oyster to crack. That's definitely something you want to do. And the main thing, I know as a guy, we want to go out and we want to meet a young lady, to hopefully spend our lives with, maybe the night. But, our hopes is, find our wife at the club. That's kind of deranged in our thinking, but in our hearts, that's what we want, and it's probably displaced at this point. But deep down inside, men and women have a deep urge to connect with one another. Okay, that's just the reality of it. Everybody had the dream girl. Everybody had the dream guy that if you had, Emilio Estevez in your bed, everything would be perfectly fine. If you had Mario Van Peebles in your bed, everything would be fine. If Halle Berry was your wife, I'm sure everything would be perfect for you. You understand? This ain't something that I'm speaking from that's like, the mystic, you jumping off the deep end right now. No. This is deep down, and maybe you've escaped it over time. Now you think that deep desire that you've had, for a majority of your life is somehow going to be dissipated if you get a good ass job, if you do all of these particular things. So here we're dealing with the masculine and the feminine and knowing how to combine them within ourselves to become the ultimate lover so you can give that ultimate love to your partner. Now, this is much different from society, where society says this perfect person is going to enter into your life, and no matter how bad you are, everything is going to be okay. So, in Athens, the day of the new moon was considered favorable for celebrating marriages, and it is still an Arabian custom to marry on this day. Sun and moon are marriage partners who embrace on the 28th day of the month. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're dealing with, okay? So the moon equates to feminine and water. So that is perfect for us because we are mostly water beings. It controls the ebbs and flows, the tides of the ocean. In the oceans, that's a big body of water, ladies and gentlemen. Now compare the ocean to your little body. What is like, so the moon in a sense can have complete control over your mind, over your body. So, we're dealing with Luna, and just maybe for the people who don't know how the world sees the moon, okay, you see right here, Luna, and then if you go into Luna C, like I see the moon, now I sound like, I felt like that sounded like dude from, in Living Color, where he's in jail, he's dropping mad science, but I see the moon, my brother. If you see the Luna, then you will not be a lunatic. You see, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, doing this Thanksgiving celebration while your ancestors are like looking at you with the side eye, ladies and gentlemen. That is lunacy. You might be a lunatic, but I digress. The moon, it deals as a gateway between the realm of celestial influences and the earthly realm. And a lot of our information on the moon in relation to the universe. So what I'm speaking to is a universal-centric viewpoint of the astrology in the earth. What most people speak of is the earth, right? Everything within the earth. And you could be inundated with everything within this earthly world. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need to, you know how I do. You feel me? And being that. But when you speak of universal shit, none of that shit matters. None of that shit is important. The material life is like dust. If we realize that we're all sand specks on a beach, then what is the material life? What is this when we realize that we're a reincarnated soul from a large distant galaxy upon the Milky Way or something to that effect? Our perception is a lot different, but we can't go into this thing figuring we know everything there is to know because we're earth-centered, we're heliocentric. Everything that we do in the day, oh, you know me as this, oh, you know me as that. You don't see my dark side, so I can get this shit off that I'm boss hogging out here. You understand? Scorpio is an archetype, ladies and gentlemen. an archetype represents a part of all of us. And the Scorpio archetype is a fixed emotional state that was hardened when you were very young. So all of this conscious information that you are absorbing, if it ain't thawing out that initial ideas that you've had when you were young, then I'm trying to pour new water in there. But if it ain't hot enough, it's not going to melt. So hopefully this information is hot. Hopefully it's melting those fixed ideas and getting you into the realm of transformation, getting you into the realm of alchemy. And we're flowing right now. We're flowing with the water. And so the moon deals with the dark. The dark is a time for healing. Let's deal with this. The moon god Sin is a physician. So the moon god Sin, and if you go to church right now and you be like, well, we going to church tomorrow, right? I know a lot of y'all getting ready, right? Picking out your outfit, making sure everything is ironed and shit. When you go to the pastor tomorrow morning, ask him about the moon god Sin that you be telling me to watch out for, that I was born with. I was born with sin, okay? I was born with sin. That means I was born as a damn physician. I just don't know how to work. See, if I'm a doctor, I need a lot of lights and shit because I'm doing a lot of surgery and cutting. I got to make sure everything is right and exact. But if I'm dealing with sin, then he's a physician just like Dr. Gupta at the damn practice down the street. But he don't need no lights. He don't need to do no surgery, okay? He can come through when you're sleeping in the realms of healing and healing plant and recuperative growth meet in this configuration, okay? So it's a lot of different things going on. I know a lot of us have slept and we've had our spirit guides and our angel guides doing surgery on us, making, doing, at least maybe I'm the only one, but I've felt energies working on my back, working on my knees, working on my head. Oh, I got a headache. Oh, I got a crook in my neck. Come on, baby. Let me work it down. You feel me? And this is something that you are born with. The Christian church calls it sin, okay? But now we've got the real meaning of this sin, which is the moon, because the Son of God, S-O-N or S-U-N, brother, has a counterpart that is S-I-N. Okay, we taking it to the next level and we understand it and coming and parting through those veils and then understanding the power of regenerating your subconscious or unconscious that in nocturnal darkness or by the light of the moon performs its task, a mysterium from out of itself. This is why healing pills and herbs are ascribed to the moon and their secrets guarded by women, or better by womanliness, which belongs to the moon, okay? Quite simply, new moons are times for healing, but did you know it, okay? And we're dealing with the entities and all. So, all right, they say however many people is on the world, 8 billion people, right, on Earth. And imagine the Earth, right? And imagine like whatever number of people that's on Earth, times it by probably 1 million of particular entities, spirits, angels, all types of energies that want to incarnate. So this is why at nighttime you're horny and you want to have sex and get a girl pregnant, because once you get a girl pregnant, that creates the vessel, and wherever the geometrics are aligned within the solar system, that's like how you be at the meat market and you pull a ticket. Now pull a ticket and you number 5,600,000,000 15 billion, you feel me? You got a long ass wait, you feel me? And you just up in space, just like damn, they ain't called the number in like 5 days. Let me go fuck with somebody down on Earth and get them horny so they can get to fucking. Excuse my language, okay? And this is the sun and the moon, okay? And especially in Scorpio. So we've established that the dark is our healing energy. And another point that I want to tap into, a lot of people maybe don't know, but hopping into that bath at nighttime might be the only thing you need to do. Getting into those moon baths, cutting all the lights off, sitting in that water, okay? Sitting in that water. You is 85% moon now. Stop playing. And it ain't about taking a nice, all sexy bath and all of that. You can do that. That's cool. And it ain't just for ladies. Men too. Get in that water. So the new moon, right? We dealing with true sidereal. Now I just want us to take a look at this circle that I'm spinning around. And let's look at the size of Scorpio versus the size of the other constellations. Scorpio a little small, Ophiuchus a little small. And a lot of people like, well, Hood Mystic, I don't know about Ophiuchus because they don't be talking about Ophiuchus in my books that I be reading about astrology. Why you just coming up with stuff? I'm not really coming up with stuff. If you understand the world, it spins on a 23.5 degree axis. So when they first conceptualized astrology, they charted out Aries, which at the time was a 30-degree ecliptic journey for the moon. So they said, well, since Aries is 30 degrees, we'll just make them all 30 degrees. But let's look really closely at this, okay? The reason why Scorpio is so small in real terms, because once it goes along this ecliptic, it's out of Scorpio. And now it's in Ophiuchus. And it's going to be in Ophiuchus because it's a part of the ecliptic line. And once it goes out of Ophiuchus, it moves into Sagittarius. And once it's out of Sagittarius, it moves into nowhere. Capricorn, okay? And, it goes along this ecliptic line. But in the midst of that, there's planets all the way down and all the way to do this and point A to point B. And maybe it used to be. I remember growing up and, things were a lot setter than they are now. But we have to realize that things are changing just like life, Ain't no tree perfectly aligned in a geometric pattern. It's just random occurrences that exist in the world. So understanding this form, we can really deal with this information. So in reference to True Sidereal, I do have a link sheet, because the link sheet is this page right here. But I also have a link for the link sheet, okay, in the description. And be sure to utilize all of these links that I'm providing so you can get some additional information yourself. Take your own notes. And that's why I like this way of presenting, because it allows people to do the work themselves. So let's just read through this. You might notice a difference between this and your more popular Western sun sign. This is because popular Western astrology uses a system called tropical astrology, which does not use the real location of the constellation. So if I give you my address, but I don't give you the real location of my address, you're not going to find my house. You don't know, okay? It instead is based on the seasons of Earth and does not reflect their true locations. In fact, the two systems are almost a full sign apart. So a lot of people think I'm an Aries, I'm a Taurus, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Cancer, but there is no astrological correspondence to that actual fact. So it's like I live on Jenkins Street, but you don't live on Jenkins Street, you live on Adams. Why is you telling people you live on? This is street over. It's the next street. That's why ain't nobody coming over your house. You got to think about it. You giving them the wrong address, okay? And so we're moving on. So now we're dealing with the concept of mental alchemy, and we're dealing with new wine that need new wine skins, because new spirit needs new minds. It's just the reality that people just know every damn thing, and they're not ready for this process. They're not ready to open themselves up to divine work because they're not ready for rebirth, because they're happy with whatever shit that they got, or whatever sadness that they hold, whatever darkness that they hold, because darkness and depression is perpetual. And until it enters into Scorpio, you don't really understand that you're here on earth to heal yourself, because you're more than a healer. You're more than a conqueror. But there's some new skins that need to be developed, okay? Because if I give you new information and you put it into an old wine skin, it's going to burst. So therefore, it's important to develop a new wine skin, or a new mind, brother, a new mind. Okay. The previous stages were the decomposing of the old in a two-step process, one called putrefaction and the other spiritization. This and latter stages ushers in the more refined self. Matthew 9:17 says, neither do people pour new wine into old skins. If they do, the skins will burst and the wine will run out and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins and both are preserved. So life begins to continue once you understand that death doesn't exist, and death is something that you are creating within your mind, okay? This is something that you are not being taught. So Scorpio represents embracing our dark night, because our dark night is healing. And this page is just more, and this is for the people who decide to go to the link sheet. This was more details on maybe finding your real zodiac sign, so you can stop, saying I'm a Taurus because I like what Taurus represents, even though I'm broke as shit. I ain't got no money, but I'm sitting here talking about I'm a Taurus and thinking I gotta be with all these people, when really I'm an Aries, and I'm more successful when I'm by myself, doing things on my own, initiating projects, being a leader. It's just something to think about. So, who is Artemis? Remember this. We're trying to figure out who's Artemis. Who is this lady? And I think I wanted to talk about this page because I wanted to point out, now that you wobble wobble, and once you shake it, and once you wobble wobble, and you shake it. I amuse myself if I don't amuse y'all, you feel me? Unbeknownst to the ancient astrologers, Earth continuously wobbles around the axis in a 25,800 year cycle. This wobble, don't want you shake it, is called a precession, or I don't forget who said. Is caused by the gravitational attraction of the moon on the equatorial bulge. Over the past 2.5 millennia, this wobble has caused the intersection point between the celestial equator and the ecliptic to move west along the ecliptic by 36 degrees, or almost exactly 1/10 of the way around to the border of Pisces and Aquarius. This means that the signs have slipped 1/10, or almost one whole month of the way around the sky to the west relative to the stars beyond. So quite simply, shit is different now, but y'all still studying old ass information and then talking about it like it's valid. It's like, I'm gonna keep it blood raw with y'all. It's like astrologers get on here and be talking about the news, about shit that happened in 1967 every month. What type of sense do that make? As things change, as our understanding changes or evolves, so is our information. But they fought this information, quite simply, is going to confuse their followers, and they're going to lose their views and things of that nature. So therefore, they'll just continue to misinform people. I just don't have that to do, okay? I'm not here for clout or views. I'm here for truth. Okay? Here for truth. So due to it, we're dealing with Scorpio now. Due to it, let me zoom this in for y'all so y'all get some screen love from your boy. Due to its location straddling the Milky Way, this concept. What's up with me? Hey, I was meditating before this. That's probably why I'm so silly. You know how the spirits, they got hella jokes. They in a good place, in a good space. So the sadness and depression is not of the spirit. And if you are super sad and super depressed, if you're not trying to transmute that energy, you might be blocking your blessings, okay? Due to its location straddling the Milky Way, this constellation contains many deep sky objects, such as open clusters, the butterfly cluster, the Ptolemy cluster, clusters everywhere, you feel me? Clusters just all over the place. So, real quick, and this is why this new moon is different and special than most other new moons, because usually we have a new moon in a particular constellation, then we have a full moon in a constellation where it's just vice versa. But since Scorpio is so small, we only gonna have a new moon in this particular energy, so we only got one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. What is that? Is that how it go? You better lose yourself. Mom spaghetti. Moms is ready. Yeah. You only get one shot. Don't he say something like, yeah, okay? And this is that Eminem moment. You understand? I should have had a clip ready for this, you know. Bunny Rabbit, you feel me? The Western astrological sign Scorpio differs from the astronomical constellation. Astronomically, the sun is in Scorpius for just 6 days. For just 6 days. You only got one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself for the moment. That's how you be to you. I'm so serious though. We joking, but I'm serious. You know, from November 23rd, check your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. What's today's date? That's the day. From November 23rd to November 28th, it's time to be spiritual. It's time to light incense. It's time to kill your ass to death. You feel me? This is that, yeah. 6 days, 5, because I guess counting this day make it 6. But much of the difference due to the constellation Ophiuchus, which is used by few astrologers because a lot of astrologers lie. And lying don't mean that you bad. It just means that you ignorant or refuse to learn more. You refuse to get a new skin. You want to pour old wine you want to pour new wine into an old skin, but then you burst out and then you depressed and then you sad because you don't understand this process of catharsis, this process of releasing, because you only got one shot. Just like, you know, before he got on, he started rapping, he threw up mom spaghetti. Yeah, let it all out, you know, let it loose. Man, let me just show y'all where we at, because we here.
www.hoodmystic.com. Leave your ego at the door.
Sorry, guys. So we're dealing with the actual mythology, and then we're going to get to the veil of Isis. So in Greek mythology, the myths associated with Scorpio almost invariably also contain a reference to Orion. According to one of these myths, it is written that Orion boasted to the goddess Artemis and his mother Leto that he would kill every animal on earth And so Artemis, also known to be a hunter herself, offered protection to all creatures. Okay, so who is Artemis? Still no. It's a delay. It'll probably bump. So here we go. The veil of Isis is a metaphor, allegorical, artistic motif in which nature is personified as the goddess Isis, covered by a veil or mantle representing the inaccessibility of nature's secrets. It is often combined with a relative motif in which nature is portrayed as a goddess with multiple breasts who represents Isis, Artemis, or a combination of both. The motif, however, was based on a statue of Isis or the goddess Neith. If Neith sounds familiar, we was talking about Neith yesterday as a representation of Oya, who was sometimes equated with her in the Egyptian city of Sais, mentioned by the Greco-Roman authors Plutarch and Proclus. So basically, we have a statue of Isis, but really it ain't a statue of Isis, it's a statue of the goddess Neith. So the veil of Isis thus doesn't reveal Isis, it reveals Neith. And then to understand why it reveals Neith, it reveals this because there's a particular mystery behind it. So the idea is to say, not Isis, not Artemis, but Neith. So there's a Sanskrit word that's called Neith, the same spelling. And to deal with that, we have to continue along the mystery. One more thing from the veil of Isis before we get to Neith. We have to part the veil, or pierce the veil, or rend the veil, or lift the veil, okay? This refers to, in the Western mystery tradition and contemporary witchcraft, to opening the veil of matter, thus gaining entry to a state of spiritual awareness in which the mysteries of nature are revealed. Okay, so in order for the mysteries of nature to be revealed, one has to first acknowledge that they're not into the mysteries. They take information at face value and don't connect the dots. So, as I was referencing earlier about getting into your magic, and throughout these 6 days, in ceremonial magic, the sign of rending the veil is a symbolic gesture performed by the magician with the intention of creating such an opening. So you allow that openings, you allow those mysteries to be open to you. You allow that breakthrough to come through. You don't just sit here and be a hardworking person knowing that you know. That's not the veil. That's the earthly realm. And this particular space and time is for you to transcend that. I hope you guys are gathering that from this talk. Excuse me. We must part the veil to know the truth. So in all of this, in reference in astrology, I pulled up a math analogy. So if your computations are not correct, that does not make the science incorrect. If you don't know how to compute math equations, that doesn't mean the science of math is incorrect. That just means the actual user is not interfacing within the science correctly. And so that's what we're attempting to do. We're attempting to adjust your point of view so you can see the astrology and the astronomy as a coherent science, so you can be able to connect the dots, not only in your world, but in society's world, because society is a system that rates you from good to bad, but the universe is a system as well that rates you from, on a different plane. It's a different level. our spiritual energy and our human lives are not always in balance. So we utilize this 6 days to bring it in balance. Now, if you trying to spend time with your family who probably don't give a shit about you, you trying to spend money on things that don't really matter, i.e. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, then you are a part of society and you are not a part of the universal thought. So therefore, you go into another form of darkness. Christmas shopping, etc., etc. So, what is Scorpio in esoteric astrology? Scorpio represents, let me see if I can zoom out. Oh, this time. Scorpio says, and the word said, let Maya flourish and let deception rule. So, this is kind of a confusing understanding, This is very confusing. But then I skipped Neith. I need to get back to Neith because Neith is very important. So, she is also sometimes seen as a cow, linking her with Hathor or the great cow, who is the mother of Ra. So, if we're going to link the cow to anything, we ultimately know that this is the Milky Way. So, who is Neith? Neith is one of the oldest deities of ancient Egypt. Okay, let's just deal with that. One of the oldest. She was a war goddess, a goddess of creation, a mother goddess who invented birth, and funerary goddess who cared for and helped to address the souls of the dead. Okay, and if that's like kind of confusing, let us digress because we've been here before. We've been talking about this. We actually started the video off here, so let's just deal with it. Let it take its time. The Milky Way. So this is childbirth, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where your kids came from. This is where you came from, okay? This is the mystery. And so this is the particular time that we actually, as a sun and moon, are able to alchemically tap into our previous lives and our understanding of such, okay? And maybe we don't know about it, but we could use the moon as a satellite or a transference to give us this information. And it's usually going to happen at night, okay? So this is why our dreams need to be on point, our dream journaling and our meditation needs to be at point. Even if we feel like we don't want to sleep, that's good because we can still utilize the power of the night. Okay, so this is the power of Neith. So all of this energy right here, up and down and up, this is all Neith, okay? It's just personified. Understand the difference. Her cult center was at Sais in the Nile Delta. So Sais is where the Veil of Isis statue is. But it was, before it was Isis, it was Neith, okay? And so, here we go. Her attributes were largely given. So her attributes, meaning she started this shit. They just, they just didn't give her the thanks like Ice Cube said. Were largely given to Isis and Hathor. And those goddesses became more popular in Egypt. However, Neith continued to be honored as a patron goddess of Sais throughout Egypt's history and was considered a great protector of the people of the land and most effective mediator between humanity and the gods. Okay? This is a very important part. Neith is said to have been present at the creation of the world. In some stories, even the creator herself, who gave birth to Atum, Ra, or the sun, who then completed the act of creation. So, yeah, Neith is a big deal. See if there's anything. So Neith may have originally been a fertility deity corresponding to the goddess Tanit, who was later worshipped in North Africa at Carthage. And that Tanit in Egyptian means the land of Net, the land of Neat. So Tanit is the land of Neat, and can also be understood as I am all that has been, that is, and that shall be. No mortal has yet to been able to lift the veil that covers me until tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing something very, very major. So just sit back and relax and understand new information needs to be understood. It ain't like you don't need to be antsy-pantsy. Just need to relax and understand new information. As it's being revealed to me, I'm revealing it. So let's deal with the physics of Maya. As if we forgot, we are dealing with Scorpio, which according to Alice Bailey, the word of it is let Maya flourish and let the deception rule. So within this, we need to understand the physics of Maya. I'm going to just have to go through this paragraph by paragraph. Like I said, the link sheet is available for you to go through this in full detail. So, every present moment is in truth a past moment, since what we think happens right now actually occurs nanoseconds before. So I'm saying this now. It's going to take a few seconds for you to get this information. But even once you hear it, it's going to take a minute for it to go through your body, get to your brain processes it, and then tells you the brain processes it. Okay, so within that time, a lot can happen, a lot of distortion can happen. So this is why what we see is not always as it seems. The world is not as it appears is an ancient realization. Indian philosophy has captured this understanding in one simple but nevertheless beguiling word, Maya, because it can mean anything from illusion to magic, but more importantly, it represents not that. It's very important because we're going to deal with it. Not that, ladies and gentlemen, not that. Keep that in mind. Maya, in this sense, means that which portrays its real origin and thus tricks us at each and apparently every turn into believing something about an event's causation that is not true. So a lot of our ideals and our depression is based around things that are simply not true. Our brains see the world in a very peculiar and a certain way. It's as if the world is forever at a tilt, but of which we remain unaware. Okay? We don't understand that the world is at a 23-degree tilt. So is our lives. And if everything is right and exact, and I live back home with my mom, I'm not supposed to be here, blah blah blah, hoo, then you're blocking the divine messages, because last time I checked, you ain't have to pay rent. So take this as an opportunity to connect with what's really important. Stop creating problems, right? Deception is part and parcel of nature and is an intrinsic and necessary feature of human existence. Without it, we wouldn't be able to survive, since survival of the fittest is dedicated on one's ability to be stealth when necessary, or to be able to invoke varying camouflages in the time of need. Our five senses don't reveal the universe at large so much as provide us with the severely edited version of what our bodies necessitate to live long enough in order to pass on genetic histories. Let me finish up. Here we go. Science, in other words, is a path of systemic disbelief, which, like the very literal meaning of Maya, looks askance at desperate phenomena and its attendant explanations which evoke affirmations of I believe, I believe, I believe I can fly, I believe I can touch the sky, I'm in prison thinking about it every night and day. That nigga believe he can fly, but the truth is your ass in jail. So believe all you want, R. Kelly. And proclaim something inherently more radical. Neti. Not this, not that, but neat, okay? Neath. Neti. Not this, not that. We'll get back to that. We lifting the veil of ISIS, ladies and gentlemen. And by such a procedure, patiently unravels the hidden knot that for millennia has remained unraveled, okay? I became free of Maya when I realized that I could never escape from her, okay? So that brings back the actual word of Scorpio. What you fighting against, what you wishing never happened to you is part of your darkness, and this needs to come out. Let Maya flourish and let deception rule, because you'll never be able to see the universe within your mind. We're just trying to understand our little bitty portion of it. And within that, we have to understand that deception is part of it, because we're in this vast universe and we just got these, 3 eyes and trying to figure this thing out. So give yourself time. Patiently unravel the hidden knot that for millennia has remained unraveled, okay? Be suspicious of everything, doubt everything. And so this is why I'm providing the link sheet. That's why I'm doing this information the way I'm doing it, because if I just came on here and started rambling this shit off, this for this, for that, for this, for that, for this, it's like you think that I'm making stuff up. And I encourage people to be suspicious, even of me. Be suspicious of everything, doubt everything, allow things to reveal themselves, okay? Don't just accept things at face value. Don't assume that money is going to make everything right. Don't assume that love is going to make everything right. Actually be a little bit worried, and so you can get to a level of truth. So here we go. Neath, net, neat, or knit. Then we have neti. In Hinduism, and in particular Jnana Yoga and Alvata Vedanta, neti deti is a Sanskrit expression which means not this, not that, or neither this nor that. Okay? The significance. Neti, meaning not this or not that, is the method of Vedic analysis of negation. It is a keynote of Vedic inquiry. With its aid of the Jnani negates identification with all things of this world which is not of the soul. In this way, he negates the things that are not of the soul. So if you say no, because it's not right, then ultimately you're negating it to get to a point of something that is real. But this is a gradual process that he negates the mind and transcends all worldly experiences that are negated till nothing remains but the self. So within your meditation, neti. I want a new house, neti. I want a big car, neti. I want to understand who I am. Me wanting a new car or a new house or more money, that shit is always going to be there. But the soul, the opportunity to connect, and deal with the ultimate reality, but not the reality itself, is the veil of Isis. Neti negates all descriptions about the ultimate reality itself. Intuitive interpretation of uncertainty principle can be expressed by Neti. So let's go back. Neith, aka Net, Neat, or Nit, is one of the oldest deities of ancient Egypt. She was a war goddess, a goddess of creation, a mother goddess who invented birth, and a funerary goddess who cared for and helped dress the souls of the dead. Neith is one of the most ancient deities known from Egypt. There is ample evidence that she was one of the most important deities of the prehistoric and early dynastic periods, and impressively, her veneration persisted to the very end of the Pharaonic age. Her character was complex as her mythology continued to grow over this great span of time, and although many early myths of the goddess are undoubtedly lost to us, the picture we are able to recover is still one of a powerful deity whose roles encompass aspects of this life and the one beyond. Okay, so we are really dealing with the truth. So let's just deal with some common knowledge stuff before you carve the turkey. Let's just deal with this. This is my woke brother section. The University of Connecticut claims that the first Thanksgiving was not a festive gathering of Indians and pilgrims, but rather a celebration of the massacre of 700 Pequot men, women, and children. In 1637, the Pequot tribe of Connecticut gathered for the annual Green Corn Dance ceremony. Mercenaries of the English and Dutch surrounded and attacked the village, burning down everything and shooting whoever tried to escape. The next day, Newell notes, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony declared a day of Thanksgiving, thanking God that they had eliminated over 700 men and women and children. It was signed into law that this day forth shall be a day of celebration and thanksgiving for subduing the Pequots. Most Americans believe Thanksgiving was this wonderful dinner and harvest celebration. The truth is the Thanksgiving dinner was invented both to instill a false pride in Americans and to cover up the massacre. And this is taken from The Sin of the Multicultural Christian. Okay, the Multicultural Christian deals with two main groups in its overall development. He deals with Turks, Moors, and Indians. So, and this is another book that you might want to look into, Nabal Mitar, Turks, Moors, and the Englishmen in the Age of Discovery. And I'm just pointing out a connection real quick. Although Mitar notes the sharp political and colonial differences between the English encounter with the Muslims and their encounter with the Indians, he shows how Elizabethan and Stuart writers articulated Muslim in terms of Indian and Indian in terms of Muslim. By superimposing the sexual constructions of the Indians onto the Muslims and by applying them to the ideology of holy war, which had legitimated the destruction of the Indians, English writers prepared the groundwork for Orientalism in the 18th and 19th century conquest of the Mediterranean Islam. So they were able to take over the Mediterranean and the Americas by really usurping all of their enemies into one safe term by calling them black people. And from there, the rest is history. Nobody knows whether they're part of the Pequot or if they're Moor. So I'm going to just read this last paragraph. All of these links are available on the link sheet, but if you want to dive into it more. However, what fashioned the English view of the Muslim world were not trading encounters, common political interests, or the fact that some Englishmen made a living as corsairs in North Africa. More important were inherited ideas of Muslim barbarism and the notion that Muslims had no legitimacy as rulers. The Muslims had no legitimacy as rulers or even as inhabitants of the Middle East and North Africa. The English view of Muslims as barbarians belonged to a common European tradition called Thanksgiving. But from the Elizabethan period, it received reinforcements from the English accounts of captivity as slaves to, and you gotta drop 46 to read the rest of this, and I have that to do. So, we moving on. I bring that up because our idea and view as American, if not fully addressed in a particular historical scope, is, either you American is like, I can invade people's lands and just take over their stuff and give them my laws, huh? Oh, not for me. But, and then how we are able to process it is they mythologize these men, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. Now, every time we want to spend $1, we see George Washington's face, and it's like, well, I got this dollar, got this man, he can't be that bad, right? But, you haven't done any research on him. So we're moving on to the solutions part of this video, where we're dealing with the esoterics side of Scorpio, which deals with the Kabbalistic word Nun, N-U-N, and this is a putrefaction. Initiation is guarded on both sides by death. So let's just read the secret instructions of the master. And once again, all of this information is on the link sheet in the description if you need to read it in your own space and time. The universe is change. Every change is the effect of an act of love. All acts of love contain pure joy. Die daily. Death is the apex of one of the curve of the snake of life. Behold opposites as necessary complements and rejoice. It is impossible to tell you of the splendors of that of which they have attained, but little by little, as your eyes grow stronger, we will unveil to you the ineffable glory of the path of the adepts and its nameless goal. Because death doesn't exist, everything that we fear surrounding it stunts our ability to actually focus on the true goal of the soul. So for these 6 days, let him be aware of the abstinence from action. For the curse of his grade is that he must speak truth, that the falsehood thereof may enslave the souls of men. Let him then utter that without fear, that the law may be fulfilled, and according to his original nature will that law be shapen, so that one may declare gentleness and quietness. Being in a Hindu, and another fierceness and civility, being a Jew, and yet another ardor of manliness, being an Arab. Yet this matter touches the mystery of incarnation, and it is not here to be declared. So basically, whether you're an Arab, Jew, black, white, Hindu, whatever, that's an earthly realm understanding. The spiritual understanding is much deeper. And if you're going to stay stuck in that racial type of deal, you're not going to fully understand the spiritual. And I know it's hard to let go of that racial side, that victim mentality, because, you feel like you're owed something. But the reality is it's time to get what you're owed by, developing a new skin. Then shall be given a new sacrament, and it shall not defile thee. Thou shalt reveal with wanton in the marketplace, and the virgins shall fling roses upon thee, and the merchants bend their knees and bring thee gold and spices. Also young boys shall pour wonderful wines for thee, and the singers and dancers shall sing and dance for thee. So this is more or less the other side of this. So, when we reach the full moon and Ophiuchus, we're going to be talking about, cashing big checks and doing great things, but we're killing or getting rid of all of the things that are less desirable. And we're raising above our earthly understanding and dealing with our more spiritual understanding. So we're also dealing with another solution, which is found in Einstein's theory of general relativity. And I'm going to tie this part into Neith. So, Albert Einstein, in his theory of special relativity, determined that laws of physics are the same for all non-accelerating observers. And he showed that the speed of light within a vacuum is the same no matter the speed at which an observer travels. As a result, he found that space and time were interwoven into a single continuum known as space-time. Events that occur at the same time for one observer could occur at different times for another. So he found that space and time were interwoven. Who is the Weaver? I lost my virginity to a girl. Her last name was Weaver. Could have been an incarnation of Neith. I'm just hoping. She was the goddess of wisdom, weaving the cosmos, mothers, rivers, waters, childbirth, hunting, war, and fate. Weaving. Space and time. So, childbirth, fate, weaving, mothers, cosmos. Okay? We're dealing with understanding this world, understanding the prime creator, understanding the goddess, understanding the universe as opposed to earth, and understanding the weaving of this thing, and tapping into that ability to understand our purpose, our soul's purpose. The reason why people get so many readings, the reason why people get so much spiritual advice, because they do not understand that they are a spirit having a human existence. So therefore they need to learn the spirit side. So they seek astrology readings. They try to get medium readings from their mama, daddy, trying to just figure this shit out. Okay? You got to understand how all of this is played. So the theory of relativity says that there is no difference. Everything is found in space-time. And so our observation of the Milky Way, our observation of the sun and moon is actually an ability to actually tap into something higher than ourselves. But first we have to understand that there is something higher than ourselves. And from that, we're able to tap into stuff. So she also became a goddess of weaving. Okay? As the goddess of creation and weaving, she is said to reweave the world on her loom daily. An interior wall of the temple at Esna records an account of creation in which Neith brings forth from the primeval waters of the noon the first land. Neith brings forth the primeval waters of the noon the first land, and all that she conceives in her heart comes into being, including the 30 deities. Having no known husband, she has been described as the Virgin Mother Goddess. And this is where we get Virgin Mary from, and this is where we ultimately get Oya from. So, yeah, we was here yesterday. Not gonna spend a lot of time on that. And so, finally, the card of the month. I really do that? I think I really card of the month, death. But let's just read this. I'm going to just really read this to you guys. Death is a fundamental basis of a spiritual path as it leads from one transformation to another. As we shed the old and take on finer forms of identity, resting in spirit. This process is described in spiritual texts and biblical scripture. Romans 8, verse 6, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Spiritual work is about dying to the lowest expression of ourselves. In meditation, we die to the world. The above sentence is stating that those who are caught up in the world without spiritual purpose are dead to their lives' potential in discovering spirit. We will now look at the card itself. So, death symbolizes the death to the old self. This 6 days is a period of great transformation and the ability to face your darkest fears, because your darkest fears are a part of you, but they can also be released. In order to grow, we must abandon the old, and death is our protection against doing the same shit. As we change, we are forced to leave behind that which we have outgrown. This is a crisis period that cannot be solved with fear. This is a crisis period that cannot be solved with fear, so slowly replace it with confidence. Finally, it is time to cut off what does not serve you. It isn't that neat, ladies and gentlemen. So that was my presentation. All of this information is available for your consumption in the descriptions. I put out 3 videos in 3 days. All potent, pertinent information. You know, me and Hancho started this thing off on Thursday, then came with the Oya video, and trust me, I'm not revealing all of my information, but I am revealing a lot of information to you guys. And so a little support is all that I ask for. You know, the links are in the description on how you could possibly support this channel. Even if you don't have any financial resources, which I completely understand, please share this video. Please like this video. Please tell somebody about this video, because hopefully they might benefit from it the same way you have. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the energy. And if you need me, please be sure to email me at hoodmystic@gmail.com. As always, the website is www.hoodmystic.com. Join the set. We'll be back next week with more content, more information, but I'm still here for you. Hit me up. But I'll see you guys on the flip. Peace.
www.hoodmystic.com. Leave your ego at the door.